So here we are, people. We're at the final volume of Buso Renkin, Volume 10. And what can I say about this volume, really? There's a lot to say about it because, well, first of all, the final chapter was 85 pages long. Then, you have a epilogue chapter, which is another roughly 35 pages. And there was also a one-shot in there for another series. But to be frank with you guys, I didn't even bother reading that because I didn't want to just throw some random one-shot and talk about that just because it's part of the volume itself. Because I want this to stay focused only on Buso Renkin. Now, there's a lot to go over with the final chapter and the prologue. Or, sorry, the epilogue. I kind of forgot. Prologue means happens before the main story. Epilogue happens after the main story is over with. So, with the epilogue, we do get, pretty much like every single question is straight up answered. And I think Nobuhiro Watzuki did this beautifully, honestly. For one, basically every single character that we had met and come across, they're all alive. Yes, even all the homunculi are alive. And that's only because Papillion basically brought them back to life. Well, his group, and I'm assuming probably the homunculi for that worked for Dr. Butterfly and the LXE are probably all alive as well. The fact that we got to see the Hayasaka twins fight against some of Papillion's original animal-like homunculus. We got to see Gota fight one, and we got to see Tokiko also fight one as well. What's funny is that the first I'd say 4 or 5 homunculus that we met in the story, the rose, the frog, the gorilla, the boa constrictor, I feel there's one I'm missing, but I'm not 100% sure which one I'm missing. No, that sounds about right, those 4. Then of course you have the one whose name I think his name is the most prominent, is Washio, because he is Papillion's right-hand man. He was his right hand when he was alive, and he's his right hand again after being revived. So for me, that gives that character a type of importance. And not to mention, it was kind of cool seeing, him and Gota kind of go toe-to-toe. Now, Papillion kind of fights Tokiko, but at the same time, he's keeping his promise to Kazuki Muto. And that promise is that he was going to basically make another white Kakugane, which the first white Kakugane failed in giving Victor back his humanity. Now, in case you guys don't remember, Victor and Kazuki basically went to the moon to either to battle, to talk, or what the fuck have you, okay? And at the end of the day, Victor helps Kazuki go back to Earth. Now, this was crazy what happens, okay? So, the alchemist army, who had pretty much been going around and taking care of any known homunculi, once they would take care of those homunculus, pretty much what was going to happen was that anyone and everyone that would be homunculus would get sent to the moon. Also, Victor gets turned into homunculus as well. And Kazuki does end up coming back to Earth, and he does end up becoming human once again. So the alchemist, like I was saying, the alchemist army has basically disbanded all of their battle operations. So all Kakuganes are left at headquarters. They're no longer being used for combat at all, because there's no reason to fight. Every homunculus that ever was, and ever will be, is on the fucking moon. Because homunculus and humans can't coexist. There's no cohabitation between the two. And the only homunculus that actually does exist on Earth is Papillion. The reason for this is because Papillion has no craving for human flesh. In a weird way, he has become his own version of an ultimate being. He doesn't need the humans to sustain life. It was almost as if slaughtering his family was the nutrients that he needed. And possibly he maybe wanted to be slaughtered by Kazuki Muto as well. And yes, they do have their final fight, but Kazuki doesn't kill him. And this kind of propels Papillion to become a cherished urban legend around the world known as the Butterfly Man. Where a lot of people, there's rumors about him saying like, oh hey, if you go to the rooftop and shout his name, he'll appear. Or you go do this, he'll appear. And there's all these rumors that start spreading everywhere about him. And it's not just in Japan either, it's in places around the world too. So the character relations, at the end of the day, they did stick. You know, Papillion and Kazuki are basically friends. They're no longer mortal enemies anymore. If that's, you know... Well, Papillion is still irritated by Kazuki, by his hypocrisy, but he's not... I mean, he's no longer, you know, trying to egg him into a fight anymore. Because, truth be told, if Kazuki Muto wanted to, he could have killed Papillion again. And this time, as a human. You know, he reverted back to human, and he still won his fight with Papillion. Still fucking won. Now I do like how Nobuhiro Watzuki handled Gota towards the end here. You know, he could have had Gota become very bitter and resentful towards Kazuki for, quote-unquote, taking away Tokiko from him. And also he could have, at any given point in time, tried to lay the moves on Tokiko while Kazuki was battling Victor on the moon. But he never did that. He knew where Tokiko's heart was. He knew just what would happen. Not on what would happen, but he essentially knew that no matter what he would do, it would never measure up to Kazuki Muto. And I think it's because of the fact that, like, everything that Gota does in the story is essentially just for Tokiko. Like, he doesn't... It's not like he does anything out of the goodness of his own heart, unless it benefits Tokiko in some way, shape, or form. Whilst with Kazuki, everything he's ever done was for somebody else entirely. Sometimes it was for Tokiko, other times it was for Papillion, other times for Captain Bravo, other times it was just for his sister or his friends, or even people he didn't fucking know that well, like his own classmates. But Gota, however, it was always for Tokiko. Always. And when he finally calls Kazuki Muto his friend, that to me was Gota's big turning point. It basically established that he's no longer a love rival, and he has basically accepted that what has happened has happened. That those two, Tokiko and Kazuki, they're going to be together forever, and he has to just go on with his life. And sometimes that happens, you know. Sometimes you I don't want to say fall in love, because that's just stupid. Sometimes, you know, you meet someone and they tickle your fancy a bit, and you hope you're like, oh man, I want that girl or that guy or whatever, you know, to become mine. But then someone else comes along and wows them, and you feel that like burning sensation in your chest, in your gut, and you start resenting them. But then you start seeing how they are together, and you're just like, you know what? I was being the fucking dick the entire time. And you know, truth be told, I've been in Gota's situation more times than one. Granted, that was back in my middle school and high school years, but now doesn't bother me, honestly. So, what's to say about the epilogue? The epilogue basically explains to us the reason for Tokiko's scar. You know, the scar that is right across her nose, the bridge of her nose, basically. And it gives us a bit of information about her past. Other than that, The epilogue really doesn't do anything for us, except for it also gives us a chance to see what Busujima looks like underneath her mask. And oh yeah, by her Buso Renkin is like gas mask based, so she can control different types of gases, basically. And yeah, she's pretty cute. You know, I kind of wonder, you know, like what would Nobuhiro Watzuki do with this character if Buso Renkin was allowed to carry on past Volume 10. And here's something that's really crazy, okay? In some of his notes regarding the final 2 chapters, okay, the final chapter and the epilogue chapter, basically, was that he actually had this whole situation to where Victoria and Moonface were going to, like, gather up a shit ton of homunculi and basically go to the moon. That was one of his ideas he was going to do. And he even mentioned that Moonface would show up later in the story, which Moonface never fucking did. So it's obvious that idea was scrapped. Also, Captain Bravo was supposed to die, and instead was going to be the head honcho of the Alchemist army, Shosei. He was supposed to take Captain Bravo's place. I'm not too sure how I would like that, to be honest with you guys. You know, because Captain Bravo did his job as the mentor for Kazuki Muto. He did his job and he did it well. To have one mentor be replaced with another mentor, I'm not saying it can't be done, because a lot of shonens do this. They'll have someone be a mentor, but then they'll have that person kind of disappear or die off, then a new mentor will come and take the old mentor's place. And of course, the new mentor will teach the main character, you know, new types of values, virtues, give them a new wisdom, let them, you know, see the world with a new set of fresh eyes, basically. Possibly, you know, since Captain Bravo was very gung-ho, maybe Shosei would have been a bit more reeled in, if you will. Now, I don't think Hiwatari would have been a good choice, because in a sense, Hiwatari is almost exactly like fucking Captain Bravo. Also, a very gung-ho individual. I told you guys in a few videos back that by the time we came to the end of Buso Renkin, I would let you guys know what is the next series that I would be reviewing weekly. And this would actually start next week. So starting next week, I'm going to be reviewing a classic manga series. And by classic, I mean a series that started in, I would say, the 1950s or 1960s, around that time frame. A series about 9 individuals, each one born from a different country, but brought together by an evil organization known as Black Ghosts. These 9 are cybernetic enhanced humans. The first ever fighting team to ever exist, before the Power Rangers, before, well, fuck, any other fighting team. Of course, I am referring to the epic masterpiece known solely as Cyborg 009 by Shotaro Ishinomori. The masterpiece that he himself died before having completed it, and thus his son picked up the reins and finished the story himself. Now, this will be not just a review of each volume, but also, in a sense, a reaction for each volume. And yes, I will be going through the entire series, from start all the way until its end. And yes, that does include the material that was written by his son. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Alright, so what do you guys think of Buso Renkin Volume 10, the final volume of Buso Renkin? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. and give this video a thumbs up. That way the algorithm will know that my stuff is worth watching. And if you haven't, hit that notification icon. That way you will know when I put out another video. Or a new video, I mean. And if you want to follow me on social media platforms or whatever, well, just wait until after I say goodbye.